Good day, everyone. My name is Samuel Heathcote, and I'll be discussing a topic which is called How Animals Survive. And that's mainly talking about animal nutrition, how animals can survive off from nutrition, what they eat, and so on. I'll discuss about that to everyone in a matter of time. So please listen on. So, animal nutrition. Well, let me give a thorough explanation first. All living organisms need nutrients to survive. Well, that's obvious. Every single living matter, every single living being will need some sort of energy or type of nutrient to survive or keep or progress in their life. If you don't, well, you should know what happens next. So while plants obtain these nutrients or molecules required for cellular function through the process of photosynthesis, which is the process of turning energy from the sun in using carbon and so on to turn that into glucose, which is energy used that's turned from sunlight energy. So plants gain their molecules nutrients from photosynthesis, while most animals obtain their nutrients by the consumption of other organisms. At the cellular level, the biological molecules necessary for animal function are amino acids, lipid molecules, nucleotides, and simple sugars. However, the food consumed consists of protein, fat, and complex carbohydrates. Animals must convert these macromolecules into the simple molecules required for maintaining cellular functions such as assembling new molecules, cells, and tissues. So what that is saying is that when animals gain nutrients from or gain these molecules from other organisms when they consume them, they'll be gaining these different types of nutrients. And protein, fat, and complex carbohydrates, as I said, is one of these nutrients that is gained from consuming other animals. But animals can't, as I said, absorb these nutrients straight away like we do. They have a special, well, it's not special, but they have a process which turns these protein, fats, and complex carbohydrates, these nutrients, into smaller molecules. So the macromolecules is the nutrients, and they have to break it down into smaller molecules, which are the simple molecules required for maintaining cellular function, as I said, into new molecules like cells and tissues. So in summary, the nutrients gained from consuming other animals are broken down into smaller molecules, which helps the animal create new tissue, cells, and other such molecules. And this conversion, as I said, what I was talking about, of the food consumed to nutrients required is a multi-step process involving digestion and absorption, which I'll talk about later on in this topic. So moving on, after animal nutrition, we have key figures about it. So we have all living things need nutrients, as I said. Animals obtain nutrients from consumption of other organisms. Molecules needed for animals to function are amino acids, lipid molecules, nucleotides, and simple sugars. And digestion, absorption. So, let me go back. So here, well, it shows here anyway. So here, it's saying that it says here this key figure: animals obtain nutrients from consumption of other organisms. As I said through explanation, is that animals consume other animals, and they gain nutrients which need to be broken down to smaller molecules which can be used in the animal's body, and that goes to the process of digestion and absorption down there below. Moving on, we got human nutrition. As you've seen before when I skipped the slides, human nutrition. One of the challenges actually when it comes to human nutrition is that maintaining a balance between food intake, your storage and energy expenditure when it comes to our human nutrition. So every day we have different activities which go through and affect our nutrition inside our body, which could be laziness and so on, which is not doing activities such as gaining more energy expenditure, like it says before. That's why we need to take our nutrients a bit seriously. We have to take our vitamins and so on and so on. We also have to make sure to have our proper meals. So we need our fruits, vegetables, meat, carbohydrates, dairy, and so on for a healthy balance. But when it comes to imbalances in human nutrition, it can have a serious health consequence. And for example, of these health consequences when it comes to imbalance of human nutrition, an example of that is when you're eating too much while not expending much energy, like doing activity while you're not doing any activities, it leads to obesity, which in turn will increase the risk of developing illnesses. For example, diabetes, cardiovascular diseases. We got also high blood pressure from obesity, and because of the recent rise in obesity and other diseases, it makes the understanding the role of diet and nutrition in maintaining good health all the more important for ourselves and everyone else. Moving on, the key figures, obviously, we have human nutrition is finding balance. And imbalances can cause serious health consequences. So everyone, we have to make sure that our nutrition is all the more balanced. If we could get it, we have to eat everything. Okay. Moving on. We have classifications of animals, and they are divided into three things. We have the omnivores, the herbivores, and carnivores. So, let me start with the herbivores. So, herbivores are animals whose primary food source is plant-based. They eat anything plant-related, like grass, cabbage, or leaves in the trees, and so on. Everything plant-based. And the key figures of herbivores are primary food course is plant-based. These animals have evolved digestive systems capable of large amounts of plant material, and can further classify into frugivores, which are fruit eaters, granivores, which are seed eaters, nectivores, which are nectar feeders, and folivores, which are leaf eaters. Moving on, we have carnivores. And carnivores are animals that eat meat, or you could say eat other animals. The word carnivore is Latin for meat eater. So examples of carnivores, we could have the lion here set in case, wild cats, as I said, such as lions, tigers, we got hyenas which eat meat, we got alligators, crocodiles. Those are such things that could be carnivores. There are also other types of carnivores, which could be spiders, ladybugs. Well, yes, ladybugs are a type of carnivore. And carnivores actually can be classified into a few sub categories, which are called obligate carnivores and facultative carnivores. So obligate carnivores are those that rely entirely on animal flesh to obtain their nutrients. And examples of these such carnivores are the members of the cat family, which are the lions and cheetahs, tigers, so on. While facultative carnivores are those that eat non-animal food in addition to animal food. Note that there is no clear line. There's actually no clear line difference between these facultative carnivores and omnivores. It's said such that these are just type of type of subcategory for carnivores. So we could actually say that dogs would be considered facultative carnivores. Moving on, we have the omnivores, and they are animals. As said, obvious to the name, omnivores are animals that eat both plant and animal-derived food, so they eat plant-based and meat-based food. In Latin, omnivore means to eat everything. So examples of such omnivores are us humans, bears, chickens, or example of omnivores. Another example of omnivores would be cockroaches and crayfish. There is no distinct difference, as I said, when we compare omnivores and facultative carnivores. So moving on, we have the digestive system. Sorry, that is my bad. For the several digestive systems, we have the invertebrate digestive system. So let me give a classification of what it is. Animals have evolved different types of digestive systems to aid in the digestion of the different foods they consume. The simplest example is that of a gastrovascular cavity and is found in organisms with only one opening for digestion. Flatworms, comb jellies, coral jellyfish, and sea anemones use this type of digestion. Gastrovascular cavities, as shown, are typically a blind tube or cavity with only one opening, the mouth, which also serves as it says, a gastrovascular cavity shown in the picture here. There's only one opening, the mouth, which is also known as the anus. So ingested material that enters the mouth and passes through the hollow tube shown. That passes through the hollow tubular cavity. Cells within the cavity secrete digestive enzymes that break down the food. Cells within the cavity secrete digestive enzymes that break down the food, and the food particles that are broken down by these enzymes are engulfed by the cells lining the gastrovascular cavity. Moving on from the invertebrate digestion, we have the vertebrates. And vertebrates have evolved more complex digestive systems to adapt to their dietary needs. Some animals have a single stomach, while others have multi-chambered stomachs. Birds, for example, have developed a digestive system adapted to eating unmasticated food. So I'll be talking about such digestive systems later on after this vertebrates. And one of them is called a monogastric, or single-chambered stomach. As the word said here, monogastric, suggests, this type of digestive system consists of one stomach chamber, and that's why it's called monogastric, one stomach chamber. Humans and many animals, have a monogastric digestive system, as illustrated in the picture I've shown to you. The process of digestion begins with the mouth and intake of food. The teeth play an important role in masticating, meaning chewing, or physically breaking down food into smaller particles, which is needed from the nutrients we break them down. The enzymes present in saliva also begin to break down the food. The esophagus, here we can see, is a long tube that connects the mouth to the stomach. Using peristalsis, or meaning wave-like smooth muscle contraction in the esophagus, that's what I'm talking about, the wave-like smooth muscle contraction. The muscles of the esophagus push the food towards the stomach, from the mouth, which is, if people wondering, food doesn't just fall down through your throat or through the esophagus. It moves down slowly using the peristalsis, which is the wave-like smooth movement of the muscles in your esophagus to the stomach. So on in the monogastric digestive system, as the food goes down from the esophagus, it goes through all the intestines inside the human body, or inside the digestive system, which everyone should know about. It passes through the stomach, goes through the small intestines, then the large, and then comes out of the ever-ending anus. Moving on, after the single-chambered stomach, we have avian, the unique digestive system unique to birds. So birds have special challenges when it comes to obtaining nutrition from food. They do not have teeth, so their digestive system, shown in the picture I've given you in the PowerPoint, must be able to process unmasticated food. Birds have evolved a variety of beak types that reflect a vast variety in their diet, ranging from seeds and insects to fruits and nuts. Because most birds fly, their metabolic rates are high in order to efficiently process food and keep their body weight low. So the stomach of birds has two chambers. The proventriculus, which is shown in the middle, right? Small tube. The proventriculus, where gastric juices are produced to digest the food before it enters the stomach. So it digests the unmasticated food, which birds uniquely eat. So, as I said, it digests the food before it enters the stomach, and the gizzard, which is below the proventriculus. The gizzard, where the food is stored, soaked and mechanically ground. The undigested material forms food pellets that are sometimes regurgitated. Most of the chemical digestion and absorption happens in the intestine, and the waste is excreted through the cloaca. So similar to the monogastric, but for the avian it is unique. For eating unmasticated food, it goes down through the esophagus, and then it goes through a process in the proventriculus and through the gizzard, similar, going through the small intestine and coming out through the cloaca. Moving on, we have another type of digestive system, which are the ruminants. Ruminants are mainly herbivores like cows, sheep, and goats, whose entire diets consist of eating large amounts of roughage or fiber. They have evolved digestive systems that help them digest vast amounts of cellulose. So, an interesting feature, really, of ruminants is that their mouth is that they do not have an upper or incisor teeth. They do not have upper proper teeth. They use their lower teeth, actually, and tongue to chew the food. So you can actually see these in horse, sheep, and goats. You can see them while they chew their food. I'm sure some of you have seen their unique way of eating their food or chewing their food from the mouth. From the esophagus, to help digest large amounts of plant material, the stomach of the ruminants is actually a multi-chambered organ. So the four compartments of the stomach are called the rumen. As you can see, the large part of the organs here in the ruminant digestive system. We have the rumen, the reticulum, which should be here on the right, which you can't see the name, but it's on the right there. The reticulum omasum there below, and abomasum, which should be there, you can see, which from the rumen goes through the reticulum omasum and then the abomasum into the small intestine and so on. So these chambers contain many microbes that actually break down the cellulose and ferment ingested food. The abomasum is actually the true stomach in the ruminants and is equivalent of the monogastric stomach chamber, where gastric juices are secreted. So similar to the stomach in the human body or several other animals, the abomasum is the complete replicate when it comes to ruminants. So the four-compartment gastric chamber provides larger space and microbial support necessary to digest plant materials in ruminants. The fermentation process produces large amounts of gas in the stomach chamber, which must be eliminated. So on, it goes through the small intestines and same out through the anus. After the several digestive systems, we got the parts of said digestive system. And that is the oral cavity, the esophagus, stomach, small intestines, large intestines, rectum and anus, and the accessory organs. So the oral cavity, or the mouth, as everyone knows, is the point where food comes in and that's the starting point of our digestive system. Food is consumed in the oral cavity and broken into smaller particles when it is masticated, or as I said, it is when it is chewing. When we chew the food, or when mammals have teeth, they chew the food. When it comes to avians, they go through the other process. So, from the saliva and the teeth, when you masticate, you break down the food. Similar. After that, we got the esophagus, which is the tubular organ that connects the mouth to the stomach. The chewed and softened food, after masticating, passes through the esophagus using the soft-like movement from the muscles in the esophagus, moves down the masticated food, mood called peristalsis, the movement of the esophagus, push the food toward the stomach. As you can see here in the esophagus, between the mouth and the stomach, it moves the food from the mouth to the stomach, and reverse movement is not possible through this method. The peristaltic movement of the esophagus is an involuntary reflex. It takes place in response when you swallow. So while you swallow, this reflex happens. After the esophagus, we got the stomach, which is the next to the esophagus, or connected. It is the large part of digestion occurs in the stomach. The stomach is a sac-like organ that secretes gastric digestive juices. So similar to the stomach, we have the abomasum, which is in the ruminant digestive system, as I said a while ago. So this highly acidic environment is required for the chemical breakdown of food and extraction of nutrients said from the organism consumed from. When empty, the stomach is a rather small organ. However, it can expand up to 20 times its resting size when filled with food. So people who say they have small stomachs, you actually got bigger ones. That's my joke. After the stomach, we have the small intestines. And in a small intestine, chyme moves from the stomach to the small intestine. The small intestine is the organ where the digestion and protein, fats, carbohydrates is completed, so it's already broken down. The small intestine is a long tube-like organ with a highly folded surface containing finger-like projections called the villi. So the apical surface of each villi or villus has many microscopic projections called microvilli. I can't show you a picture because I don't have a said reference, but in the small intestine, you should know about the curvatures. We got those are said called villi. And these villi are the microvilli. With their many folds, increase the surface area of the intestine and increase absorption efficiency of the nutrients. So, as a summary of the small intestine, it is an organ where the digestion of proteins, fats, and carbohydrates is complete. After this, we have the large intestine. The large intestine reabsorbs the water from the undigested food material and processes the waste material. The human large intestine is much smaller in length compared to small intestines, but larger in diameter. It has 3 parts: the cecum, the colon, and the rectum. So the cecum joins the ileum to the colon and is the receiving pouch for the waste matter, which people should know what waste matter means. It's what comes out. The colon is home to many bacteria or intestinal flora, which is said also bacteria, that aid in the digestive processes. The colon can be divided into 4 regions, which I won't go into. And the main functions of the colon are to extract the water and minerals, salts from the undigested food, and to store waste material. Carnivorous mammals have a shorter large intestine compared to herbivore mammals. Mammals, due to their diet. Close to the last, we got the rectum and anus. The rectum is the terminal end of the large intestine. The primary role of the rectum is to store the feces until defecation. The feces are propelled using peristaltic movements during elimination. So it's similar. When you defecate, the waste material, the rectum or the anus goes through a similar movement to the esophagus, for example, the peristaltis, and the waste material comes out from the rectum through the anus, and that is said so on. So lastly, we got the accessory organs, and the organs discussed before are the organs of the digestive tract, which digestive tract through which food passes. Accessory organs, but instead, are organs that add secretions or enzymes that catabolize food into nutrients. Accessory organs include, as I said before, in the oral cavity, we got salivary glands, through the stomach, down to the small intestine. We got the liver, the pancreas, and gallbladder. So the liver, pancreas, and gallbladder are regulated by hormones in response to the food consumed. And said people, I don't need to go further in explanation what they are, because that's what we've learned before. So in summary of this, different animals have evolved. So really, different animals evolved different types of digestive systems, which is specialized to what they eat, what they consume, really. And exclusively humans and other animals have, as I said before, they have the type monogastric digestive systems, which is a single-chambered stomach. Birds have their avian digestive system, as I said. That includes a gizzard, where the food is crushed into smaller pieces, their unique process for unmasticated food. So this compensates for their inability to masticate. As I said, they eat unmasticated food, avians. And then ruminants that consume large amounts of plant material have a multi-chambered stomach that digests through the several houses in their digestive system, the mimosis, and so on. So many organs work together to digest food and absorb nutrients. The mouth is the point of ingestion, and through on the esophagus or stomach. Said for different digestive systems, they all come out through one place, except the invertebrate, which has only one entry, which is the mouth, otherwise known as the anus, in the invertebrate digestive system. Okay, after this, we have the food requirements. Well, we have the food requirements, and given really the diversity of all animals or different kind of animal species on our planet, it's not really surprising really that animal diet would also vary substantially. The animal diet actually is the source of materials needed for building DNA and other complex molecules needed for growth. Collectively, these processes are called biosynthesis. The diet is also the source of materials for ATP production in the cells. The diet must be balanced to provide the minerals and vitamins that are required for cellular function. So food requirements. What are the fundamental requirements for animal diet? The animal diet should be well balanced and provide nutrients required for bodily function, like making cells and tissues, and the minerals and vitamins required for maintaining structure and regulation necessary for good health and reproductive capability. These requirements are said for human nutrition. We got the fruits, grains, vegetables, protein, and dairy, which are, as I said before, for that human nutrition may goes on balance, and we should be very careful or very focused on our nutritional value and scare away from other health consequences that may come if we don't keep check of our nutrition in our bodies. So moving on. So essential nutrients. So as I said, animal bodies or every single thing need nutrition, but specifically for animal bodies, they can absorb nutrients from organic precursors or organic molecules, but they cannot just do that because they need to be taking nutrients from food, which the body can't produce. And examples of that would be vitamins, the omega-3 alpha linolenic acid, that the omega-6 linolenic acid are essentially. So the name I just said are essentially fatty acids needed to make some membrane phospholipids. Vitamins are another class of essential organic molecules that are required in small quantities for many enzymes to function, and for this reason are considered to be coenzymes. Absence for low levels of vitamins can have a dramatic effect on health, as outlined on the tables which I'm about to show you below. Both fat-soluble and water-soluble vitamins must be obtained from food. Minerals listed below are inorganic essential nutrients that must be obtained from food also. Among their many functions, minerals help in structure and regulation and are considered cofactors. Certain amino acids also must be procured from food and cannot be synthesized by the body. So these amino acids are the essential amino acids. The human body actually can synthesize only 11 out of 20 required amino acids. The rest must be obtained from food. So let me show you an example of a table which goes for water-soluble essential vitamins. We got vitamin B, which is riboflavin and thiamine. So the function is needed by the body to process lipids, proteins, carbohydrates from organic compounds. Deficiencies from not taking vitamins was released to muscle weakness, reduced heart function, CNS, other said problems. And sources of this thiamine is milk, meat, dried beans, and whole grains. After that, we got riboflavin. Same said thing. Deficiencies can lead to cracks or sores, and so on. Sources could be found from meat, eggs, enriched grains, and vegetables. After water-soluble, we have the fat-soluble essential vitamins, which are said, for example, a few of them. There are many types of vitamins for these soluble essential vitamins, but I'll just show a few. So here, for the fat-soluble, we got vitamin A, which is retinol, and vitamin D. For vitamin A, the function is critical to the development of bones, teeth, and skin, helps maintain eyesight, enhances the immune system, fetal development, and gene expression. Not taking can lead to night blindness, skin disorders, and impaired immunity. You can find this vitamin from dark green leafy vegetables, yellow-orange vegetables, fruits, milk, and butter. Vitamin D, same thing. Sources could be found from cod liver oil, milk, egg yolk. After that, we got the last part of said minerals. So minerals and their function in the human body. An example is calcium and chlorine. For calcium, function is needed for muscle and neuron function, heart health, builds bones, and supports synthesis and function of blood cells and their function. Same thing as others. These sources can be found from milk, yogurt, fish, green leafy vegetables, and legumes. And same goes for chlorine. So food, energy, and ATP. Animals need food to obtain energy and maintain homeostasis. Homeostasis is the ability of a system to maintain a stable internal environment, even in the face of external changes to the environment. So, for example, the normal body temperature of humans is 37 degrees Celsius. So humans maintain this temperature even when the external temperature is hot or cold. It takes energy to maintain this body temperature, and animals, as I said, obtain this energy from food. The primary source of energy for animals is carbohydrates, mainly glucose. And glucose is also called the body fuel for the animals. The digestible carbohydrates in an animal's diet are converted to glucose molecules through a series of chemical reactions. So, apart from food energy, which is glucose for the animal, we also have ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate, and it is the primary energy currency in cells. It stores energy in the phosphate bonds, and it also releases energy in these said bonds. ATP is required for cellular function, is used to build the organic molecules that are required for cells and tissues, as well as providing energy for muscle contraction and transmission of electrical signals in the nervous system. But animal diets should be balanced and meet the needs of the body. Carbohydrates, proteins, and fats are the primary components of food. Some essential nutrients are required for cellular function but cannot be produced by the animal body. So, as I said before, the animal body can gain their own nutrients from organic molecules, but they cannot just rely on that. They need nutrients from food, which is said here. So, these include vitamins, minerals, and some fatty acids and some amino acids. Food intake is more than necessary amounts is stored as glycogen in the liver and muscle cells and in fat cells. Excess adipose storage can lead to obesity and serious health problems. ATP is the energy currency of the cell and is obtained from metabolic pathways, which I'll explain so on later here in this slide. So after this, we have the digestive system processes. The digestive system processes. So, obtaining nutrition and energy from food is a multi-step process. For true animals, the first step is ingestion, the act of taking in food. This is followed by digestion, absorption, and elimination, which I'll say so on after. So, as a start, ingestion, which is also known as the cephalic phase, is the process of taking food in through the mouth. So, as I said, or is basically self-explanatory. When you're eating, it goes through the oral cavity or your mouth. The saliva breaks down. Is saliva gland puts out an enzyme, which breaks down the food while you masticate it, and through that you ingest the food, and it goes through the esophagus. That is the cephalic phase. After that, we got digestion and absorption. So, otherwise known as gastric phase, is the breakdown of food into smaller fragments, while absorption is the taking in of said fragments. So, elimination. The final step in digestion is the elimination of undigested food content and waste products. The undigested food material enters the colon, where most of the water is reabsorbed. Recall that the colon is also home to the intestinal flora, which is also microflora, that aid in the digestion process, which increases efficiency, if you want, in simpler terms. So the semi-solid waste is moved through the colon by peristaltic movement, which is muscle movement, similar to the esophagus of the muscle, and is stored in the rectum. As the rectum expands in response to storage of fecal matter, it triggers the neural signals to pass this waste material from the rectum through the anus. Another example of releasing or eliminating, or another example of elimination would be emesis, emesis meaning vomiting, which is forceful expulsion through the mouth. Is often in response to an irritant that affects the digestive tract, including but not limited to viruses, bacteria, motion, sight, and food poisoning. So, in summary of all of these, digestion begins with the ingestion, where the food is taken in the mouth. Digestion of absorption takes place in series of steps with special enzymes, which goes to and digests carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids. Then finally, elimination describes the removal of undigested food contents and waste products from the body and through the anus. So here's a quote: "That is to never be limited by reason and knowledge. The changes and developments that would happen in the future are far more exaggerated than even the wildest imagination of modern humans." By T.R. Up. Thank you for listening. I might have not explained this in a proper way, but this is through my understanding of animal nutrition, or to the fullest where I could describe it. Thank you everyone for listening. If you could, sorry for this, and thank you.